Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions. Casey's is a premier garden center and gift shop located in Lawrenceburg, Indiana. They offer a wide selection of high-quality plants, landscaping materials, and home decor. They do amazing high-quality work and can help you transform your indoor and outdoor living spaces into something beautiful. So stop by Casey's Outdoor Solutions today and let them know you appreciate their support for Rock Solid Radio. Visit Casey's today at 21481 State Line Road, Lawrenceburg, Indiana. Hey, Sarah, how's school? You got homework today?
It's terrible.
What's wrong?
I don't understand this math.
Well, how much have you been working on it? It looks like you just started. You got your doodling all over here on the paper. What's going on with that?
I'm trying. I just don't get my times tables are so hard.
Look, Sarah, you got to get your act together. I mean, we're not going to do a repeat of what we did last year. Remember your grades last year? Remember how you lost all those privileges?
I'm so stupid. I hate math.
You need to clean up your attitude right now. This isn't going to help you. Get back to work right now.
The teacher hates me. You hate me. I can't do anything right.
I don't hate you. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. What's this with the teacher hating you?
The teacher hates me and everybody in class hates me. I don't have any friends. I'm all by myself.
Oh my gosh, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Get to work right now. I'm going to go out of here. I'm coming back. I want it all done. And we got to make sure we're ready for this quiz tomorrow.
Dad, I don't understand it.
Oh, stop the whining.
I need help. You're just not helping me.
Did you ask your teacher? Well, every time I try to help you, all you do is whine and complain.
She doesn't like me, and then there's this kid in the playground that keeps bullying me. I don't know what to do. I just can't handle it. And then we gotta wear masks again, Dad. I can't do it.
Listen, you are blowing all this up. Right now, your homework is your challenge. You're going to go to school. It's not an option. Get to work right now. I'll be back in a little bit. Stop the whining. It's not going to do you any good. Oh, Sarah, you poor little girl.
Man, I've had a rough day.
Oh, man.
Did I look like... I'm glad you didn't say in that, wow, you're awful big for a fourth grader.
Our acting staff is limited, so you're starting to notice that we play a lot of different roles around here to make things happen. And this week, Sarah, a.k.a. Linda, was our student, our fourth grade student, and hopefully you saw that intro video. If you didn't, go back and check that out because that's what this is all going to be about. We want to dig into what it is here today as we're starting the school year back, and really any time through the school year at all, when our kids are being overwhelmed with what we're going to call right now homework, although we might find it's a lot more than that. And so this is part of our toolbox series about what tools can we give you as parents to help your kids to thrive through these situations and not get overwhelmed by them. We do get through these situations, even though little Sarah in that video did not think she was going to make it.
No. And so if this is your very first time watching Rock Solid Radio, welcome. We're glad that you're here. But just a little background about us. Merle and I came from the teaching world, and we spent our first years in teaching. I did for 8 years and then moved into 20-something years of full-time ministry working with kids and families. Merle, you worked with 32 years in the school system, the last 20 in an elementary school building.
With Sarah.
With kids just like Sarah, in the last 20 as a school counselor. So tell me a little bit, hun, because we're actually going to divide this program up into two parts. The academic side, so if you are a parent watching and you have a child that struggles academically, we're going to address that. But then if academics aren't the issue, but emotionally they're just really struggling with things like little Sarah was, we're going to handle that too. So, hun, on an academic side, let's talk a little bit about how you would handle little kids like Sarah, because I know you dealt with them. You were actually in charge of all special ed and all IEPs. So tell me which stands for what?
What, special ed? IEP, individual education plan.
A lot of people, we just throw those terms around and people don't know what, like, if they didn't have a child in special ed, an individualized education plan where you would sit down with teachers and counselors and working with what would be the best way for your child's success in school.
Right. So we are going to talk about this. We want to get through this, but I think you watch the front of that video, a couple of things that we want to point out here, okay? You notice little Sarah is overwhelmed, all right? She's melting down, a lot of things going on there. So I'd like to play that video again, just that first section, all right? I'd like to play that just so that we could get our folks out there that are watching and listening, to get them to tune in to what is going on in Sarah's head, okay? Because if I, as a parent, and you can see I'm playing the parent part there, not very well, but I'm playing it. Yeah. But I'm playing that, and I am keying up on some things that aren't necessarily wrong. They're just not going to get me anywhere, all right? And so if I want to get somewhere, I need to be a little bit more knowledgeable about how to get to Sarah to help her.
Can I just say, I feel like I'm being typecast here, because like the only out of 4 series, this 4-week series that we've done, I have been out of control 3 out of the 4.
And you're a natural, though.
Oh my gosh.
You're a natural, and I don't know what that says, but you're a natural.
Last week, if you did not watch last week on Trust, I was in control. I was like staying calm and control. You were kind of the upset husband that didn't. So I'm just saying, I'm not really this out of control all the time. Am I?
I'll just leave it at you're a natural. No, it was good because actually, honey, you're passionate about whatever you do, and the passion that you see, whether it's in a acting out or actually real life, is Linda. You give us your passion, and that's what we love.
Thanks, hon, for spinning that positively.
It's working. It's working. It's working. Okay, so we're gonna play the first part of this video, about 52 seconds or so. Gonna let that play out, and then we're gonna come right back with you.
Yeah, watch Sarah.
Here we go. Hey, Sarah, how's school? You got homework today?
It's terrible.
What's wrong?
I don't understand this math.
Well, you know, how much have you been working on it? It looks like you just started. You got your doodling all over here on the paper. What's going on with that?
I'm trying. I just don't get my times tables are so hard.
Look, Sarah, you got to get your act together. I mean, we're not going to do a repeat of what we did last year. Remember your grades last year? Remember how you lost all those privileges?
I'm so stupid. I hate math.
You need to clean up your attitude right now. This isn't going to help you. Get back to work right now.
The teacher hates me. You hate me. I can't do anything right.
I don't hate you. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. What's this with the teacher hating you?
The teacher hates me, and everybody in class hates me. I don't have any friends. I'm like all by myself.
Oh my gosh, you're making a big deal out of nothing. Okay. So I feel I feel bad for little Sarah. I mean, the poor little girl is in meltdown phase, okay?
Oh.
And so right off the bat, I come in, and again, this is a dad who's probably just, you know, he's got other things on his mind. He's walking through the house, and he's just checking in. Hey, Sarah, how's it going? You got your homework thing going? And right away, he notices that she's not much into the success of her homework, right? She's frustrated from the very get-go.
Yeah.
All right. And when I see that she's frustrated, I right away pick an old scab.
Yeah, that didn't hit so well with me.
No.
Remember last year? You know, we're not going to do it like
Remember last year. We're not going to do a repeat of last year. So I
hate when you bring that up.
I picked an old scab with the idea that hopefully she'd be like, I know, I don't want to do that, and she'd be ready to buckle down. But she was already too far gone.
Yeah.
She was already too far gone. That was a bad read on my part. All right. And again, I'm not saying that statement that I gave would always fail, because if a kid was just on the edge and they were just starting, they'd be like, okay, I know, we've had this talk. But I didn't pay attention to Sarah, and she was too far gone, already been beat up, already ready to quit, and I already then threw salt in the wound.
Yeah, it reminds me, hon, of when we've talked about it in our couples toolbox that we're talking about the timeout. And so sometimes, you know, you may be super frustrated because here we go again. It's the beginning of school, and we're already back to whining and complaining and frustration and maybe helping her. And so as a parent, you get frustrated, and then the child's already overwhelmed. So, you know, sometimes you just got to be like, okay, we maybe need to give it a little bit of time, maybe go go shoot some basketball or go ride your bike, and we'll come back in and try to calm her down a little bit.
Right. So I missed the point. All right. And so mom and dad, here's how you know when you miss the point. When you start to see the kid not buy what you said, but they start to catastrophize, right? Like all of a sudden, I don't understand this. I'm stupid. The teacher hates me. You hate me. I don't have any friends. All right. Yeah. I'm alone. And so it went from homework to my life is blowing up. Yeah. Okay. And so
here's your sign.
Yeah. That is a sign that as a parent, if I don't read, we talk many times about reading people's hearts. If I don't read the heart and she's that emotionally charged, me trying to preach her in to a better way is not going to work. So I need to do exactly what you talked about doing just a second ago. I've got to be smart enough as a parent to back away and say, okay, well, let's just chill out here for a second.
Yeah.
All right.
Please, as a parent, when Merle says you're making a big deal about nothing, you're minimizing your child's pain. In that moment, she is feeling overwhelmed. And so you just telling her to brush it off is not, you're going to have to give her the tools. That's the whole idea about having your children in your home at this age when they're frustrated and struggling, is that you're going to equip them with the tools to know how to help. And one of those would be to take a time out, to kind of take a breath, to refresh, and then come back in and try again. That would be one tool that we give adults as well as kids.
So you might have been me in that scene, right? Like you, and that probably was me many times over. Okay.
Me too.
And so that whole idea of, okay, if I've already like thrown gas on the fire, it's now gotten uglier. All right. And my child has shut down more. You have not lost all. You can still salvage this. All right. But you have to know you cannot double down. I use that phrase, double down. You're like, what's double down?
Well,
I'm like,
explain it again, because maybe they weren't watching that
In other words,
episode.
come back twice as hard, like staying in the same groove and just keep bringing
pounding
it. Okay,
it, huh?
Versus saying, well, maybe I need to back up and rethink what I'm doing. If instead of doubling down, if I were to back out, all right, I can still address this and get some change, to get some things to happen differently, all right? So it is very important that if you have been a person who keeps driving your way, trying to think that you're going to convince little Sarah here that she can do it and these are all silly excuses, all right, that's not going to bring her around. Yeah. I want to make very clear, though, hun, you and I are not in favor of pampering kids.
No.
We are not.
Ask our kids.
Ask our kids. Ask our kids. We do not pamper kids. We lay out expectations when the storm is calm, when there is no storm. So certain things right off the bat could have been done and should have been done by me, like expectations of homework prior to, expectations of how we're going to start a school year, and not in an authoritarian way, but in an authoritative way, meaning, Sarah, hey, we got our school year starting. Remember, this is our expectation. And again, working within their abilities.
Right.
We did a show here recently on Strong Dads about teaching your kids values over teaching your kids to reach high standards. If you don't have a value on what your standards are based on, your kids they basically will go into survival mode. They'll do whatever they can, cheat, steal, borrow, whatever they can to make you happy and stay
to
off.
get the grade.
Right, and that's when they'll start to lie. They'll lie to you like, I got my homework done. They're only saying that so that you stay off their case, right? So they're cheating their values for the sake of you seeing that they've achieved.
So the message we want to help our kids understand is we want you to do your best, whatever that best is, if it's A's or B's or C's or D's. So, hun, let's say that we have a kiddo with some academic issues. So what would be some tangible ways that parents can come alongside their students, not doing for them,
right,
and not excusing it away and defending it to the teacher like, oh, they can't do this, and Sarah's not smart. So help us understand how we can walk alongside as parents in a healthy way with our struggling kiddo.
Right. So The first thing we're going to do is we are going to lay out our expectations. And these are value expectations over standards of achievement. Okay. Hey, we expect you to be a hard worker. We expect that you're honest and you've given your best shot. School comes before
sports.
Yes. We have laid those out so that those are established. I also have to, as a parent, I have to know my child, and that's why we don't get into standards of achievement, because I could have one kid in my home that looks at a book and gets an A, and I can have another kid who rewrites the book and there's not an A in sight, okay? And so that's why I have to know the child that I'm speaking to, all right? Typically, in this case, by fourth grade, I'm starting to get a pretty good understanding
of
how she rolls, what she's good at, what she's not so good at.
Do you think I'm a whiner? Would that be something that
you're getting off tangent or off subject here, honey? You're starting to feel guilty about your acting. But so here is something I want every single parent to do. Trust me, I came from the school world. I would love every parent to do this, especially if you're noticing that your kid is struggling with some of the stress of school, with the homework of school. Contact the teacher. Do not contact the principal. Do not contact the counselor first, okay? Contact the teacher and give your teacher full permission to speak truth to you, okay? So in other words, hey, I notice my Sarah, she's coming home, she's struggling a little bit. Tell me what you're seeing at school. Tell me about the benchmarks, okay? Chances are you've already been getting some benchmark type scores home. The teachers do that to help them establish where that child is, to see what that child's capable of, okay? So you have to give that teacher full permission to speak truth to you, and please do not make any excuses for how your child is performing or not, okay? Just hear them, because they see your child in a work setting. And chances are your kid holds their emotions together better at school. I say chances are, okay? Chances are they do. They tend to do better at school because it would be more embarrassing to fall apart at school and that kind of thing. So lean into the teacher. Hey, what are you seeing there? Here's kind of what we're seeing at home, and make no excuses for your kiddos.
So I know there's some people who watch this who homeschool their children. And so there's the moms listening like, I am the teacher. And so if that's the case, then you need to be more resourceful and more creative on who are other people in this child's life. Maybe it's a coach. Maybe it's a piano teacher. Maybe it's a co-op person, another parent that helps teach co-op to your kids. You're going to have to be creative in getting other people's input on what do they see. Do they see him struggling with attention? Do they see him struggling with reading? So you're going to have to kind of ask for that help if you can't assess on your own where those struggles are lying and where those things are coming from.
You hear me loud and clear on this. If I heard it once, I heard it 1,000 times. Parents saying, including Linda and I, nobody knows my kid like I do. I will say, nobody knows your kid like you do in your house.
In your home,
And that's why it's important that on the ball field, I talk to coaches. In the school, I talk to the school people, because our kids do take on a slightly different persona in these places because of the other stresses.
They're like chameleons.
And they have to. We all are that way, right? We act a little bit differently to keep it together in the different environment. And so don't get all wrapped around what you think you believe. Yes, you're probably right on a whole different level, or a whole lot of different levels, but there's a different view that the teacher can provide. Okay. So that's a big thing that we want to start with to get you as a parent started on the right foot with your kids. Okay?
So, and that, by the way, includes Sunday school teachers, youth group leaders. And by the way, not only are you going to ask their input and give them permission to be honest, you're going to partner with them. You're going to partner with them to make sure that they are good listeners and that they take turns or that they share or whatever. Like, you're going to expect that, not just at home, but on the field and in the classroom at church. Okay. You got to have all those things working together.
For you overachieving parents, back off on how often you check in with the teacher. Put some boundaries on yourself. Your teacher does want to play in with you, and they do want to work with you. But if they're getting, and I've literally seen this, 4 or 5 emails per day on how my child's going.
Let them do their job.
You have broken the relationship now with the teacher because they can't keep up. They've got 30 other kids they're dealing with. So put yourself on a boundary of some sort. Maybe it's once a week you check in. Maybe you and the teacher agree, hey, you know, this is a good day for you to check in with me, and here's how to do it. And let the teacher explain how they want it done, like an email, a phone call, whatever it is. Let the teacher work with you in that.
Good point.
Okay?
Good point.
All right. So let's do the second part of the video. Okay. Let's do the second part of the video, and then we'll come back and give a few more like, okay, now what can we do once Sarah's slammed everything down and she's in shutdown mode. Okay. Get to work right now. I'm going to go out of here. I'm coming back. I want it all done, and we got to make sure we're ready for this quiz tomorrow.
Dad, I don't understand it.
Oh, stop the whining.
I need help. You're just not helping me.
Did you ask your teacher? Well, every time I try to help you, all you do is whine and complain.
She doesn't like me, and then there's this kid in the playground that keeps bullying me. I don't know what to do. I just can't handle him. And then we gotta wear a mask again, Dad. I can't do it.
Listen, you are blowing all this up. Right now, your homework is your challenge.
Go to school, Dad.
You're going to go to school. It's not an option. Get to work right now. I'll be back in a little bit. Stop the whining. It's not going to do you any good. I love the way you slam the computer down.
Such a drama queen. Yikes. Oh, man.
Okay. So now basically it was just kind of a continuation of a lot of things there where
snowballing.
Little Sarah is escalating the storm. Remember, when we are emotionally charged, those storms tend to escalate up. They snowball, okay? And that's what Sarah was doing. And I was just adding to it.
Yeah, you're fueling the fire there.
I was doing nothing to help, even though I had glimpses of hope, like trying to single out, like, hey, your single focus here is the homework, okay? But my presentation of it was not what she was hearing. She was hearing kind of that frustrated, disgusted part of me, which was triggering more of her emotion. And she comes in now with all kinds of things, and then these are some things you're going to talk on too as well. Bullying. The mask. Oh, wow. We couldn't do this show in too many other previous years. Okay. And so the mask and just all of these other things are playing in on her. Can I just tell you that in the first month of school, this is the most likely time that you're going to see your kids unravel like this, because they went from the comfort of summer, minimal rules and expectations, and now you don't think a mask is a big deal. It's just another thing.
Yeah.
If the only thing they had to do that day was get out of bed and wear a mask, they could probably figure it out. But now you're throwing all kinds of other things, and now we got a mask too.
The pace, hon, is just incredibly fast. And so when the summer has been laid back, or it's been kind of they can get up when they want or go to bed late, and all of a sudden now they're on this schedule and they got practice after homework and after getting on the bus, and it's just a lot, and our kiddos are getting overwhelmed very quick. And so we're going to be talking about how to help them with that.
Yeah. So let's stick to the homework here for just a second. Okay. A couple of things. All right. We've already talked about checking in with the teacher. We've already talked about what we're going to lay down with the expectations. All right. Now I want to help my kid set up a routine for homework. Okay. And so this is where the family's got to be somewhat organized. And if you're a family that runs by the seat of your pants, which we have been guilty many times before.
Oh, no.
Okay. For you and your kid's sake, you're going to have to establish a routine. Remember, the routine is something that they can start to trust and count on. And so something that we just always did was, if the kids didn't have sports or anything like that, they could come home from school, they could grab a snack, all right? But we wanted them to get right back at the homework table so that they could get that started and get it out of the way, all right? The problem with saying, well, we're really busy right now, we'll get to it later, it doesn't get easier the longer it sits. In fact, I get more hopeful that I won't have to deal with it, right? And then all of a sudden at 7:30, 8 o'clock at night,
Yeah.
Everybody's tired, and we're trying to dig into this. So if you can, set up a regular, hey, 4:30, 5 o'clock, whatever. This is when we do homework at the house.
I cannot tell you how many littler kiddos that we've been seeing into our office, and I've got a lot of little girls. And a part of that is that as parents, we are running so fast and so hard, and it is so unpredictable as far as where they're going to be at dinner time, if they're going to have dinner, if what time they're getting to bed, whose house they're getting dropped off of, and things like that after school. So let me just say this. Even if you are in a chaotic house right now, inconsistency leads to insecurity. Can I say that again? Inconsistency leads to insecurity. So you want your child to feel safe and secure? Consistency. That routine that Merle's talking about is one of the best things. If you're sitting at that dinner table every night, even if it has to be 7 o'clock after football practice, if you can give that routine that 8 o'clock we are taking a bath, and by 8:30 you are in your bed and we're reading a book, like if you can do that day in and day out, or as many days as you can, you're better chance to get that security feeling for your kiddos.
Play this out just a little bit. So insecurity leads Inconsistency leads to the insecurity. Sarah will go one of two ways. All right, so just mark this. She'll go one of two ways. She'll either increase with anxiety and completely start to shut down and withdraw. All right, so let's play this out into 5th grade and 6th grade and so on, and then we'll have a very anxious junior high school kid, okay?
Which we're seeing.
Which we will see. Or she will go the other way, and it is based a lot off on temperament and how the environment flows. She will become hardened.
Yeah.
She will become tough. We see this with a lot of little boys. They become tough because the last thing you want to do is not be tough.
And cry.
Right? And cry. And so you will become hardened. I don't really care.
Yeah.
This is stupid.
You can drown me if you want.
Yeah. And they become very hardened. These are the two natural ways that we see kids go. And listen, there's always a time to be a little tough. There's always a time to be a little anxious. But when they start to own who we are as a person, they're unhealthy.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit more about that second half of that video, because I don't know if you've picked up on it, but we weren't just talking about math. The question really is, as Merle said before, you need to read the heart of your child, just like we say as a couple, to read between the lines, to kind of get to the heart of the matter. And so really, there was some other things mentioned toward the end of that video that may be the culprit to this really anxious feeling that she's having. Maybe it has nothing to do with math. Maybe math was just the catalyst for getting her worked up. But the last couple things, for instance, bullying on the playground, is there someone that's being mean to her at school? Maybe this whole mask thing. I'm just telling you, I've had more adults on even say this, that the thought of going back to this mask mandate really brings on a lot of anxiety for them. That they finally thought it was behind them, that they were moving forward to some normalcy, some consistency. And the fact that we're bouncing back and forth and in and out and plexiglass and one-way hallways and masks and all that stuff, it's really hard for little kids to handle that. It's overwhelming for them.
So, and Hun, and that whole idea of now you heard the bullying and the mask, you've seen other things. It's still not the right time for you to all of a sudden jump on the bullying. Like, okay, so it must be a bully thing. Okay,
are you being beat up at school?
Right, yeah. Because the kid they are catastrophizing, they are making a big deal, and you as the parent, you as the adult, have to fish through this to actually be the problem solver to help them. And so at this point, I really do want to say, hey Sarah, how about let's just take a breather?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a break, let's close the book, close the computer, let's calm down, let's go for an ice cream, let's go for a walk. That's not a reward. We do what we can to help kids learn to calm.
De-escalate.
Okay, and then when they de-escalate, say, okay, Sarah, like, tell me what's going on here.
Yeah.
Tell me what's going on.
You said a lot of things today.
And you might find, it's not really the homework. I mean, I'm frustrated, I don't want to do it, but really, I'm scared to death about this one person or the mask. And you'll see what will bubble up. We personally have this going on in our home right now, okay? And we just had to calm the house down and say, okay, what's really going on? All right. And it started to bubble up. and there's some challenges here at school. The deal here is we're not going to school to change the school to accommodate. We have to help our kid to learn how to work through these situations.
Because they're always going to have them, whether it be in the neighborhood, whether it be at their work environment. I mean, you're going to have challenges. And so going and saving them or fighting their battles for them is not going to equip your kids. That's where we're getting this snowflake generation. I'm sure you've heard of it before, where they melt at the first difficult situation. But, hon, I want to comment to your timeout where they kind of put the computer down and they go do something else. Please, 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 parents, if I could just beg you, do not give them a tablet or a game system and say that's how you relax. Because can I just tell you, and we've done these kind of shows before on technology, it brings on more anxiety. As much as you think it helps them unwind, it is not going to do the job that you're looking for. And that's part of our problem, is that we're going to things to try to relax us that actually stress us out more.
It passively relaxes and it actually kind of deadens the brain. If you take them for a walk, their brain can be thinking about the challenges and different things. If you put a passive entertainment in front of them, that can make them feel good for the second, but it doesn't allow their brain to be thinking about how to solve the problem. The next thing you know, the problem pokes right back up and they reach for the phone to just get away from the problem.
Yeah. It's very similar to when your phone doesn't work. Like mine does, sometimes it'll just freeze. And so sometimes what do you have to do? You have to reboot the phone. And it literally puts everything back in its compartments, is how I was explained to in a computer when you reboot a computer. Did you know that?
I do. We've done shows on that.
Refiles things.
Goes back to the default system.
Yeah, and so that's what our kids need. And the computer or a tablet or a phone is not going to help them reboot their brains. They need activity. They need relaxation, a nap even, but something that's going to help them be able to come back to it.
When you're helping little kids, whether it's homework or whether it's a disaster with a relationship at school, one of our first things that we try to do, remember what their brain just did? Their brain blew the problem up and made it huge, all right? We have to teach them how to eat one bite at a time.
How do you eat an elephant?
Yes, one bite at a time. And so like homework, in the homework world, we talk about breaking things into bite size. We call it chunking, okay? And so, like if I had a kid in the homework situation, listen, you're looking at these 15 math problems that you have to do. Let's look at the 2.
Yeah, give me 5. Do 5.
Yeah, let's look at 2. And then we'll get up, we'll take a break, or we'll talk about it, or we'll come back and we'll check, okay? The other thing is you, at this young age, so below junior high, I do not need to come in with 3,000 different answers to solve their problem. I always want to be in the mode of, okay, so what could you do here?
Yeah, help
what
them
could
figure
you
out.
do? Yes, you can help a little bit with suggestions, but what could you do? Okay, and that helps them get out of the anxious mind and get more into, well, I could do this, I could do this, and it gets them into a better problem solving mode.
You know, hon, one of the things in this math conversation that was in this video was that she didn't know how to do it, and then you said, just figure it out.
Right.
And so if you set your kids up for failure, they might do the entire page wrong, and that's just going to overwhelm them. So like you said, let's chunk it. Let's do 2. Let me check them. Okay, don't do them for them. Okay, may show them how to do it, but don't do those problems for her. And so that way she does a couple, and hey, good job, buddy. You got the girl, buddy. It's a girl. You got that right. Good job. Give me 5. You can do. Let's do 2 more. I don't think I can. You could do 2 more. And so you check them along the way. Give her little chunks, and that's really the case with all of these things that seem overwhelming. Let's try to break them up into bite-sized chunks of things. And so it can be something as simple as they don't know where to stand in the lunch line. Like they're so scared at lunch because they don't know where to sit. I mean, it could be something so simple if you were able to kind of break it down and figure it out what's going on and give them some helpful solutions and work it out with them.
Ultimately, and this this depends a little bit on the age and the level of anxiety or frustration that's coming out of the kid, all right? But ultimately, we want our kids to become independent thinkers and independent workers. And so if you start in the habit of first, second, third, fourth grade, of it's 5 o'clock, it's homework time, and you're going to sit with them at the table from beginning to end, you, even if you aren't actually doing the problems, they will not be able to do the problems unless you're there on their side. And so we talk about the idea of, okay, it looks like we've worked through some of this. I gave you a sample problem. We worked on it together. I'm going to step away, and now I want to see you do some of these on your own, all right? No different than if I were going to go take my child to McDonald's, and instead of me always giving the kid's order to the front desk, I'm going to say, okay, what would you like to eat? The kid tells me, and then I say, okay, turn around and tell them.
Yeah.
All right. And because I do not want to be their problem solver. When I see parents, especially going into junior high and high school, being their kid's problem solver, that is more about the parent than it is the kid.
Yep.
That is more about a parent's insecurities. Please hear me. That's we've all wanted to rescue our kids. Okay. Yeah. But that is more about a parent's insecurity rather than trying to help the kid.
You know, guys, and I know there's a lot of you out there because this Toolbox series has really hit a lot of nerves, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, you've been talking to us." But
we have cameras in your house.
Can I just tell you, I know that the world pressures you to be that yes mom and that yes dad that you're doing for them because that makes you a great parent. Can I just tell you, you don't have to do that. That's not the kind of parent that we want for your kids. We want the kids to see a mom and a dad who are going to lead by example, who are going to be independent thinkers, who are going to not blame the world for their problems, who are going to work through situations and not show them this overwhelming, chaotic society and lifestyle, okay? So help them by giving them what you have. And hopefully that is some organization and some contentment and some emotional stability. If that's not you, can we just say that? Get some help for you. Because as a parent, you cannot give your child what you do not have yourself.
Yep.
You cannot give your child what you do not have yourself. And if you are emotionally out of control or you feel overwhelmed by whatever it is, work, your family situation, whatever, please, 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 because it starts to dissipate into your children. They pick up on that. They feel the tension. They can feel the stress and the anxiety, and it starts to play out in their lives.
When your kids do well, all right, when they start to grab some traction and they start to do some things well, you don't need to reward them with material things. All right, that creates a whole different problem and set of challenges. Okay, praise them. Man, you got it.
Good
that
job,
is
buddy.
solid.
High five.
Yeah, and you praise them. That's what your kids, you are their hero. All right. And if you want to take away hero status, replace yourself with rewards. All right. You are their hero. You praise them. That's what they're looking for. And so, man, that was really good. Now you got it. Okay. So do not fall into that garbage of saying, well, if you do well on this, I'll give you this. No, because that'll turn into a different problem. Well, I'm not going to do it unless you give me something. That's a whole nother problem that happens really big in junior high and on.
And we're not just talking about praising for grades. That's not the point. The point is work, effort, honesty, serving others, giving generously. Like, let's praise the values that you want to see in your children. What is it that let's parent backwards. Let's look at what you want for your child as an adult and then start to do the things to get them there.
Yes. All right. So hopefully homework will not be a hassle any longer. Hopefully the overwhelmed feeling, which every home at some level has experienced that, whether it was homework or whether it was frustration with a sport or an activity or whatever, and you sat and watched your kid melt down. And so hopefully you will start to see a better way by using some of the tools that you have, by being the adult, by basically
staying in
control and you owning the emotions and not allowing the emotions to run rampant. So hopefully that these things will help. Hey, we need to thank a few people.
Yeah. We want to thank Casey's Outdoor Solutions and Maxwell Construction for just coming alongside Rock Solid Radio and supporting these kind of series and messages like we're doing today. And so please let them know that you appreciate this programming. And we just want to thank you for listening to Rock Solid Radio, building a stronger community, one family at a time. Make it a great day.
I'm not doing my homework. I'm done with that.
I'm the one doing homework, remember?
Oh, yeah, but I'm still not doing any homework. I never liked it the first time around.
Easy. Rock Solid Radio wants to thank Maxwell Construction, who has been our sponsor since the very beginning. For over 30 years, Maxwell has delivered the highest quality projects by holding to their core values of customer satisfaction, positive attitude, respect, and excellence. So if you have any kind of commercial construction need, give Maxwell Construction a call today at 812-537-2200.